Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. So a lot of you have enjoyed the CN character tier list, as well as the Lycon tier list, but some of you have been asking, what about the Relic guys? Well, here we are with the CN Bros guide for the Relics. This theory crafter has broken down all of the choices for the Relics, and this is going to be the damage dealers chapter, okay? He's planning to make multiple chapters for different units that are obviously specialized in different things, but here we are with the breakdown and why some units are better in terms of using either speed versus attack percentage, or using crit rate versus crit damage chest. So let's get things started. First of all, this is the damage chart output comparison in the Theorycraft, and of course they have used real data to back this up in the testing as well. If we take a look, the blue bar, that is the theming set, which increases your break effect, and also on a 4-piece, it's going to give you energy regen. So first of all, this is all damage and dealers, okay? Those are all damage dealers, and it's going to compare 4 pieces versus 4 pieces in terms of the output. So you have the blue bar, which is a thieving set, and then you have the orange bar, which is the musketeer set that gives you extra attack percentage as well as speed buff, okay? Now, first thing first, you can see the take-home message is if you have the correct set that matches the typing of the characters, use that set, because the green bar is exactly that. The 4-piece for a specific character, the damage dealer, is going to be best for the set that matches the typing. So of course Seele is on the quantum set, the only exception being the Mahjong lover, okay? I think her name is King Kue. Her on the musketeer set is just slightly better due to the fact that she uses her basic attack a bit more, right? So the musketeer set is going to be slightly better. Now, her yellow bar here, you might have noticed, versus Seele's yellow bar here, is an exception against enemies that are quantum weak. So not all the set have this bonus, but for the quantum set, you have a 10% defense ignore on the 4-piece, but if the enemy is quantum weak, that's an additional 10% on top. So that's why there's a yellow bar for those 2 quantum attackers. It's because of the 4-piece set, but you can see for everyone it's the green one that comes on top, which is the 4-piece for them respectively, okay? So that is the set. Now if you look at the inner piece choices, right now there are only really 2 inner piece choices that we're really interested in for damage dealers. First one is going to be the Salcedo set. Let's move here, okay, and then the other set is the space station. So for the Salcedo set, increases the crit rate by 8%, and if your crit rate is over 50%, then your ultimate as well as your follow-up attack, it will increase by 15%. You can see that for most of the characters this is best, of course, and the other space station set increases attack, I believe, and if you're over a certain speed, it increases attack even more. The only one that doesn't benefit from it as much is going to be yanking, because yanking is going to be very different in terms of the main stat as well. For example, the chest piece is because he has a lot of built-in crit in the kit, and yanking crit damage is going to be a bit better for him versus crit rate, okay, versus crit rate. So that's why this hurt the space stations comes out slightly on top for yanking, but honestly, at our point right now, you just want to farm for the correct main stat, and if you have the correct substat, perfect. But sometimes you don't even get the correct main stat, let alone the correct set or the correct substat. So speaking about the correct substat and the main stats, what are the main stats that we should be aiming for? So let's take a look at the image right at the beginning. Okay, they talk about the main stat choices. But he also talks about it here. Actually, let's go here. So those are the main stat, okay? So he breaks it down into the math later on and how each effect is going to be very important. So for the summary, everyone should be using crit rate chest piece. Most of the characters benefit the most from crit rate chest piece, again being the exception in Yanking because his kit is so crit heavy, and potentially later on the same will apply to Jing Yuan, because Jing Yuan has a lot of crit in his kit. And the rope you should be using attack percentage on your main damage dealers, okay? That's is going to be the best one. And then for the inner orb, it's going to be obviously the type matching. So he highlights them here. Attack percentage on the boots, crit rate on the chest, crit damage for some selected characters, and then the orb, which is the weakness matching, not weakness matching, sorry, the type matching orb. So he breaks it down into the attack percentage and speed boot gain in terms of who is it better. So if we look at Seele, attack percentage boosts are the best, but if you look at everyone else, speed boots is not going to be the worst. However, he talks about why it's very difficult, because there are certain thresholds that you need to hit on your speed. Okay, I will make this into a separate video because it's very deep, but essentially if you're looking at it from a memory of chaos point of view, 7 turns, right, as a 3-star limit, how many times do you have to attack before you gain an extra turn matters a lot, and there's certain speed thresholds. So in terms of for the damage dealer, okay, in terms for the damage dealer, if there's no additional support manipulating the action part, speed boot isn't going to be the best, let alone for right now most people it's going to be Seele. Okay, and the Seele does not benefit that much because of the self-buffing speed. And he also talks about it, even if you get an extra turn, okay, even if you get an extra turn, you're going to require an extra skill point when you're activating the skill, right? So are you going to use an auto attack if you don't have that skill point? Or are you going to miss out on a turn of buff because now you gain that extra point? So it's very important to calculate that. But you also want to think about, you know, that extra turn allows you to potentially break. Lots of confounding factors in this, so hence why attack percentage is best on damage dealer at its current recommendation. Okay, its current recommendation. He also breaks down into for the substats, okay, what is going to be the most important. Of course, we know in the main stat, chest crit rate is super enormous because you have all of the units, most of them in their traces will give attack boost. Okay, you can see there's a minimum gain for crit rate. Okay, minimum gain for crit rate. That's why crit rate is very important in terms of how rewarding it is. And he talks about these units may not benefit so much from crit damage. But here we go. This is the breakdown of the max. If you upgraded them the most, let's say land 5 times on a single value, and crit rate will be at 19.44% max and 38% crit damage. So you can see crit rate is pretty scarce. Crit rate is pretty scarce. And in terms of the calculation, crit rate, okay, gives you 2%, okay, final damage boost if we put it in the formula calculation. So you can see in terms of ranking, crit rate and crit damage is around the same over attack damage over speed. So definitely if you can get crit rate versus attack percentage or anything else, very important you go for that crit rate. And that's why chest being crit rate is so good in terms of the offer it gives. Now it does note that for crit damage, if you want, because in this game it's turn-based, you can try again. You can't technically go all crit damage, and if you have good luck, your damage output will be higher than crit damage, right? Crit rate focus. But for most of the cases, you definitely want to go crit rate. Okay, you will definitely want to go crit rate. Of course, the exception being Yanking. So to summarize everything, for the damage, okay, for the damage dealers, and we'll go here for the damage dealers, your chest piece is going to be crit rate, your boots are going to be attack percentage. Sorry, for the chest piece, the only exception, I mentioned this again and again, crit damage for Yanking. Okay, everyone else, crit rate, boots, attack percentage, the rope inner piece, attack percentage, and orb, you must do the matching type. Okay, so that is the breakdown in the CN Relic guide for damage dealers. We'll do more, of course, we'll do more for supports as well as do more for healers. So we'll talk about that in the next component. And now, it's TimaeuSS here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye now.